Hi, and welcome back to Create, Inspire, Convert. I'm picking up with part 3 of my series on how to move your small business online, and today we're going to be talking about how you can sell and advertise your products or services from your online store through multiple channels. This is sometimes called multi-channel integration. Here's why this matters. If you really want to capture a wider audience for your online store, you'll want to consider how an e-commerce platform allows you to sell across multiple channels. So the first channel would, of course, be your own website. Your site is where you have your branding. There aren't third-party rules, and there are no third parties getting a cut of your profits. It's just all you all the time. But you also need to consider, where are your customers doing a lot of their shopping right now? And where are they hanging out online? Which means your site should only be one of several channels through which your customers are buying your products or services, and you need to have visibility on the platforms where they're searching. So this can also extend to even something like Google search, which means one of your channels that you integrate in with could be Google pay-per-click ads. Now, I'll have to do a whole separate podcast on just pay-per-click, but the idea here is that you can set up a Google Shopping ad account, and you can create a product catalog with your services or actual physical products, and then promote that catalog through ads, which means you can take advantage of keyword searches that relate back to your products or services, which is pretty awesome. Now, another consideration is if you are strictly selling a physical product, Amazon might be a channel to consider. With e-commerce platforms, many times you can literally add your products directly into Amazon, or you can just set up an Amazon selling account and sell through the platform itself. Now, literally anyone can technically list their products for sale on Amazon. We've all seen them when we're searching on Amazon. It's those third-party sellers, which means it could be a kind of a crowded field. And that means you need to think about price competition. I want you to think about the last time you searched on Amazon for something. Chances are there were a ton of results. Like in our house, a very common Amazon search is for princess dresses because we have a 5-year-old who loves to dress up like a princess. There are a lot of people selling princess dresses. I mean, who knew this was such a saturated market? And if you find yourself in a similar situation, you're going to be asking yourself, how do I stand out? And should I even bother? So we're going to talk a few minutes about pricing, because that's really the main thing to think about as to whether or not Amazon is worth your time. So if you want to sell on Amazon, you're going to want to establish your Amazon lower floor price. Now, your lower floor price is ultimately the price you can sell your product for and break even. Inside this price, there are a few things to factor. Number one being your shipping cost, but also other factors like Amazon commission, which varies product to product from 1 to 10%. And this is literally a little cut of your sale price that Amazon takes as their fee for you using their service. Then there's also Amazon FBA fees, which FBA is fulfillment by Amazon. And this is their distribution service that they offer. So you don't have to have a warehouse staff. You can use Amazon's distribution services to fulfill your orders. And of course, all of your overhead costs. Now, that simply means the cost of manufacturing, so your materials, your equipment, any assembly, all that kind of thing. Now, with factoring in all these aspects of operation, you probably already have a minimum or low floor price in mind when you started figuring out if you were going to sell a product to begin with. Now, what's not a part of that are the two Amazon factors I just mentioned, which are that Amazon commission and those fulfillment by Amazon fees. So you'll definitely want to weave those in to your lower floor price so you can arrive at your Amazon lower floor price. And again, this lower floor price simply describes the minimum cost you can sell your product for and still at least break even. Now, no one wants to simply operate on a break-even scale. I mean, that stinks. So you're also going to want to consider your Amazon upper floor price. Now, this is where it gets a little bit more involved and you're going to have to do some research. This upper floor price is ultimately what you will list your product for sale on Amazon, but there's some considerations for it. The first thing you need to do to figure this out is to just go to Amazon and search for products that are similar to what you sell. So use the same keywords and search terms that you think your ideal customer would also use when searching on Amazon for your product. Then you're going to want to look at the price range of these products. focus on that page one of search results, because being on page one is the ultimate goal for listing on Amazon, because you're of course there to make money, but you're also there for visibility. Your upper price floor will want to be no more than about 20% higher than the highest price result on page one. You'll want to be comparable and stable within that range. So just look at that range and see how you can potentially fit in there. Now, Amazon can mean a huge amount of revenue if you play your cards right, especially with this pricing game. And you want to make sure, though, that you're in a financial place where it makes sense for you. So as you're evaluating this range, will you be able to stay within your margins to be profitable on Amazon, or is it just going to make things too difficult for you, and is it not worth your time? So that's really how you'll figure out if Amazon is a good fit for you or not. Now, what if you sell not a product specifically, but actually a service, or you're just looking for other channels of integration for your product? Social media channel integration is a great option here, and that's what you should explore for e-commerce. And whether you have a physical or intangible product, all the social networks like Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn, even Snapchat, they have the ability to integrate with e-commerce. And honestly, even TikTok is recently experimenting with some advertisements, and I'm sure they're moving in that direction too. Normally, you'll look at social media as the place where you warm up customers and clients before they get to your online storefront. But it can also be a platform where you can reach them when they're already there, and it can also be a way where you can even reach cold customers depending on the price point of your product or service. So regardless of demographic, chances are your customers are on some kind of social network, so why not meet them where they are? Now, in terms of social media platforms, Facebook is undoubtedly a must for channel integration. I mean, there are currently 2.5 billion active users on Facebook, and Instagram has about 1 billion users, and YouTube has about 2 billion for comparison. So if your customers are already on Facebook and maybe already seeing your content, if you're regularly posting something on a Facebook page or in a Facebook group, then you'll definitely want to take advantage of that and drive them back to your online store to get a sale. Now, one huge component of this is something that I think a lot of small business owners have a little bit of fear around, and it's the Facebook pixel. So let's talk a little bit about it, because it's nothing to be afraid of. The Facebook pixel is literally a bit of code that you place on your online store or your website, and honestly, it should be in both places. It goes in an area called the header section of your website. And when you load the Facebook pixel, it opens up a ton of possibilities for how you can interact with current and potential customers and clients. Most e-commerce platforms have a very quick and easy integration for installing the Facebook pixel. I mean, usually no coding is required. 9 times out of 10, there's a designated area. You just copy and paste the code and drop it in there and you're done. Now, the pixel is exactly what it sounds like. It's literally a small pixel that loads along with everything else on any page it's installed on. It creates a cookie in the visitor's browser and anonymously tracks their interactions on the site or any place where the pixel is loaded. It sends that data back to Facebook to match the website visitor to a Facebook user. So this is what enables you to get ads on Facebook for products you've looked at, or ads for products that are similar to what you've looked at already. When you use the Facebook pixel, you can send what's called abandoned cart ads for your product or your service to users on Facebook. So this means if they didn't end up purchasing, you can reach them on Facebook or on Instagram and remind them, hey, you were interested in this, so why don't you finish checking out? But what's really amazing about the pixel is you can also use it to help make decisions about cold audience targeting. So by using the Facebook pixel to track purchases on your website, it helps Facebook find members of a cold audience on its platform that are similar to your existing customers. So this means when it's tracking purchase information, Facebook can then find people who don't yet know who you are, cold audiences, but are likely to also purchase. And so then you can extend your reach even further. Now, the pixel works on Facebook and Instagram. And as I said earlier, all the other social media platforms also have their own pixels, and they work in a really similar way. So that means when you're thinking about this multi-channel integration in terms of social media, you're going to want to think about what social platforms is my ideal client or customer spending the most time on, and then load that pixel on your website and on your storefront and kind of go from there. Now, one final note about this is both Instagram and Facebook offer something called a shopping catalog. Similar to the Google one we just talked about at the start of the episode, Facebook and Instagram have this capability too. Now, this is great to take advantage of with physical products and services because you can load each individual product product or service as an item of your catalog. Then you can create shopping ads based on your catalog. But what's so cool about this is in the case of Instagram, if you create a catalog, you can actually offer a swipe up option to your cataloged items, even if you don't have 10,000 followers yet, which means this is a workaround for that rule, and it's pretty cool. Okay, let's recap. You may want to consider something like Amazon for a channel integration if you sell a physical product and you're not in a hugely contested space and you can have some flexibility with that pricing structure. You'll also definitely want to consider Google's shopping ads as well, because those are great for visibility in terms of Google keyword searches. And then, of course, the various social media channels you want to get an integration set up for really depends on where your ideal client or customer is spending his or her time. But at bare minimum, you'll want to make sure you've at least got Facebook's pixel loaded, because 9 times out of 10, they're probably spending a ton of time on Facebook and Instagram. Now, if this episode felt a little discouraging or overwhelming, don't worry. You can just take it one little piece at a time. You don't have to be on a billion different channels. Pick what works best for you and what you think makes the most sense for your business. And think of it from the perspective, again, of that ideal client or customer. How are they spending their time on their phone? How are they spending their time on their tablet or a desktop? What are they searching for? If they're mainly using Google, well, that means you should probably mostly focus on Google. Or are they spending a ton of time on social media? Then maybe it might be worth checking out that Facebook Pixel, getting it installed, and experimenting with a few catalog ads. Now, next week, I'll be back for the final installment of this series talking about moving your small business online, and we're going to cover some SEO best practices for when it comes to writing out your product information or even your service information. We're going to cover keywords and, of course, optimizing for search. Now, don't forget to go to createinspireconvert.com/workbook to download the workbook that goes along with this series. And as always, make sure you subscribe so you never miss an episode. You can also find me on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook. I'm on there as Create, Inspire, Convert. All right, that's it. Thanks for listening.